Hello and welcome to episode 18, right?
Episode 18 of the Twin Tail Studios podcast.
I'm your host,
Adam Sadler. I am your host, Adam Sadler.
No, you're saying I am? Or
I am.
I'm Brady, and we're here to talk about
That light wasn't
our latest political hot takes, some AI slop evaluate reviews. What else did we talk about?
Dead air.
We're here to talk about Twin Tail Studios, our company, our publishing company, our game design studio. Lots of exciting stuff happening. Some new news since the last episode you listened to. We had to cancel we got the opportunity to cancel our GameFound campaign.
Presented the opportunity.
The opportunity because a lot of cool things started happening that made it so we could either try to implement those things into the current campaign, which is not easy because you cannot change a lot of foundational things in a campaign.
We also learned firsthand. We also learned firsthand that we had improved shipping rates that we launched with the high shipping rates. We found a good solution, implemented that, but again, first impressions are huge, especially in crowdfunding. So we wanted to kind of discuss, our choice there, because we definitely did not plan on canceling. We wanted to see how we did, but then again, we got to the point where we're discussing like what this game deserves, and we don't want to do anything to hurt this game. So there were three big factors about why we decided we needed to cancel and relaunch, which we should mention that we're planning on relaunching as soon as possible. So it's not like it's going to be a long wait or anything.
Yeah.
We just have a few things we need to iron out and decide. We're hoping to get a preview page up in the next week or two, like ideally.
I was going to say right off the bat, the best way to keep up with this, besides listening to the podcast, obviously, but also if just if you want more immediate news, make sure you sign up for our mailing list. You can get the form, which is on twintailstudios.com. If you go to our Instagram, in our bio, we have a link where you could actually get a free copy. If you're watching the YouTube video right now, a free copy of In Short Order, which is the kind of the prequel to The Malice of Light. This kind of takes place 20 years before the story, but the plot elements kind of reference book 3, so it's a good thing to read either before the series or after book 2. So it's like if you already read the first 2 books, this is great. If you haven't read anything, this is also great, but you can get a free copy of this just by signing up to our newsletter, and that's also the best way to keep up with news. So go ahead.
And we're obviously not. We'll try not to spam people with emails, excessively. It's really just to keep up with things that are happening, especially when we relaunched the new campaign. We'll have a link to that as well. We'll also update the other campaign, so people should be able to follow it. But again, getting that follower count up is going to be essential to decide when we're actually going to launch. But the preview page should be up soon. So just to talk about those 3 big factors that kind of led to our decision to ultimately cancel the campaign instead of just going out for the next 2 weeks and seeing how well it did. So one was obviously the shipping rates. That was a big blow early on to the campaign. First day for crowdfunding is essential. I mean, people, the backing mentality, even if people don't think about it, they don't want to, they're less likely to back something that's not funded as opposed to something that funded immediately. It looks like a hot item. I want to jump in on that. So the first impressions were bad, obviously, and it's hard to recover from that. Now, we could have had a surge at the end, is all speculation, but there was damage done, so we couldn't get around that.
That is not to say that we don't appreciate the $60,000 of support we got in that first week. That's incredible. And if we would have structured things properly, which we know how to do now,
we knew how to do. Again,
it's just certain choices.
A lot of people might think that we're just making stupid decisions or whatever, but we're in this situation where we wanted to do this game, and it's a passion project. We have, like I said before, we have full-time jobs, and this is something that we want to do as a fun project. And so we had the luxury of being like, what could we do? How could we do this game with as little personal risk as financial risk as possible? Let's just put an honest funding goal up there. If people want it, great. If not, okay, well, it's not a huge blow to us because it's not our full-time job. However, we have learned doing this for the last almost a year now. We enjoy it. It's fun making games again, and we want to make this game. So we're okay. We've decided that after talking to the rest of the team, we're okay with more of a personal financial risk to put a lower funding goal that most publishers do with a bare minimum print run, funding in mind, and just this is the minimum we need to print this game, with the minimum order quantity, all that stuff. So like that's the approach we want to take, where we want to bring the funding goal down as low as possible so it funds quickly, and it can kind of just ride out the success where people I want to jump on this game because it's funded, it's hot, and all that stuff. It's the crowdfunding mentality. Now, we've been aware of this for years. Obviously we're familiar with it, and we made a choice not to follow conventional wisdom to see how it would do, and we saw. So like,
there's a reason people follow certain formulas and stuff.
It's not like we're like under the illusion that this is a genius idea. No, it's like let's see if we're approaching this direction where we're doing this as a fun project, no pressure. If you like this game, hop on. We'll make this game at this is the funding level we need. No hype or like stretch goals or whatever. This is what we need to make it. That was the original idea. However, there are like Brady mentioned, there are some exciting things that have come up since then. Launching a crowdfunding campaign, even if you had the preview page up for months, launching it brings more eyes to it and more attention to it, and things happen.
Partners want to get stuff.
Involved, yeah,
and it's really hard to open those doors in the middle of a campaign. So there's a lot of things you have to build from the ground up. And early on, like Adam's mentioned several times, we were trying to avoid complications, and that included like not getting other languages involved, like not getting retailers involved, all these little things. And we were confident that that would lead to us being able to fund and not having too many different avenues to pursue, because it's only two of us.
Yeah, we were trying to keep the whole project as simple as possible because we wanted to prove to people how we would deliver a game. That was the initial vision for this project, and it still is. And the new funding goal we're gonna go with is going to be much lower, but it's not going to be something that would risk us delivering. We have some partnerships lined up. We're also willing to take more financial risk ourselves, even though we have personal investments we can make into the company. We already have, but we didn't want to make more yet. But we are willing to do that because we want this game to be made so bad.
Yeah,
and also,
you're gonna break them up a little bit here.
Go on.
I was gonna mention. There's a lot of like we can be like vague with like, we have we can make contributions to the company and kind of subsidize some of the expense to bring that down. But to be specific, like Adam and I weren't looking at doing like a lot of other design work for other companies to like work with other publishers, but there have been like several opportunities just since the announcement of the launch that we've been offered lots of design gigs, and we haven't pursued those necessarily. But when we look at them, like, okay, well, if we could use some of these funds to subsidize what we would, like to help kind of fund the company in that regard, because like we mentioned in the comments, we aren't a big company that has that luxury of being able to like offset costs. We can't like put down a lower cost and just like use the company to kind of cover those costs to print the game. But with this opportunity, we could. So like that's another element that we can use to kind of bring that overall funding goal down. Just to give you a little peek behind the curtains of like how we can actually do that. But go ahead.
So yeah, the shipping costs were the big thing. I think that obviously the funding goal was there, where the funding goal was preventing the early, funded in 20 minutes or funded in an hour or whatever.
Which seems to matter more than I realized.
Yeah,
because
it's not just a bragging right. It's like it's a mentality where it's like psychological, where people go and they see something that's funded. That must be hot. I'll just jump on this and check it out later. And the third element, which was something that we're aware of, but we did not put enough effort on our end into selling the game design, like selling the idea of the game to new people who aren't familiar with it. So we spent a lot of money making very nice demo kits to send to content creators to make very, very well crafted playthrough videos. We also provided the full preview rulebook on the GameFound page. That's there for people to reference. Not everybody learns that way or wants to take the time to watch videos, or they want to see as quickly as possible what this game is, how it plays, why it's cool. That our campaign page did not convey that, and we are aware of that. Like hindsight, whatever. Like we're coming from a new player or somebody new to the game. it doesn't do a good enough job explaining why this game is cool. And that's what we want to do with the new project, is we want to make sure the funding goal is low enough to fund quickly. We want new backers to be able to see what the game is right away. Like, go to the project page, see what's cool about it, why it's fun. Also, this kind of goes with that, is the daily unlocks. That was a swing and a miss, obviously. And again, that's my fault. That was my decision to do that. I wanted to do that, and it was the wrong decision. So,
and kind of goes with that too. It's like just the presentation, because we consciously made a video that showed the tokens because we want it to be cool, surprise. Like, we weren't trying to like necessarily hide the fact, because we would talk kind of like casually on the podcast and everything about miniatures in the game. So we weren't trying to like necessarily hide the fact that these would be coming, but the video was done as like, okay, like this game can be enjoyed with just these tokens, but they're going to be miniatures. So we've actually gone back to the studio and we're having the video redone just to make sure it's very clear. You know, you're getting miniatures with this game. There's not like this this kind of mixed messaging. And again, that's just part of the daily. That was like a result of the daily unlocks, which we're just going to remove altogether. So,
as a side effect for that, there won't be minion tokens in the game anymore. It'll just be what our vision was miniatures. We were originally going to keep those minion tokens in there because we showed them. We don't want to take them away. But now we're trying to streamline the product and also bring down the cost a little bit. Like, we're quoting manufacturers to see if we can kind of bring the cost to make the game down a tad. And a part of that is if we can cut a whole sheet of punchboard, that's every penny saved is going to bring the cost down.
Yeah, no, but it's important to note that we're sticklers for quality, for like really premium components.
Yes.
So like when we say like cutting costs, we're not like making cheaper components. We're just trying to find out who can deliver the game that we want at the best cost. And we had a manufacturer in mind, and we still might have them in mind, but we're just exploring all options just because, the reality is what it is. Like, it's just, economy's not great. Like, making games is expensive.
It gets more expensive every year too.
So we're just trying to do our due diligence on that end to just
now. I mentioned this in the update too. Regardless of what the game actually, the MSRP is going to be, we are going to try everything we can, and I hope we are able to do this, is to offer the game at a discounted price in the campaign, so backers will have a reason to want to back early to get a discounted price, because we want to reward people who want to take the risk and back our games.
And this is like a big like retrospective here. It's like, oh, I can't believe I didn't think of this. But like, one thing that's like crazy to me that I didn't think about, maybe because I didn't think that there would be the demand there, but we didn't actually offer the ebooks of the Malice of Light in the campaign, as like, if you back the base level, just the game, one of the incentives of backing the game on the crowdfunding is getting the free ebooks if you an ebook reader, or even if you don't read them, like maybe somebody you can gift them to. But that's an easy thing we could have done on our end, and it's like, I'm like, oh my god, I came up and I didn't think of that. So that's kind of what led to the whole promo with our mailing list having the in short order as an incentive. We're going to be considering also doing something similar for the new relaunch, where if you back just the game, you can still get the ebooks if you want to read them. If somewhere down the line you might be playing the game like, man, I wonder who this character is. Now you can read the books if you want to.
Yes, and we had some feedback where people were saying that we should make the book an add-on or something with the campaign, as opposed to making it part of the campaign. But I don't really understand that, because it is an add-on, really. It's,
yeah.
I mean,
it's the bundle mentality. And some people might have that. Like, that might, like, I'm not criticizing that somebody might experience that like subconsciously if they go to a campaign and they realize the big bundle has books that they don't really want. They might not get that, so they might not get anything. I don't know. Maybe that is a thing, but I just didn't foresee that. So
I mean, we have the numbers of backer. Anybody could see during the campaign. They could see that we had, of the 400 backers we had, I think 140 or something of them were getting the bundle. So I mean, a good amount of people are getting the bundle. So it's worth offering it.
Yeah, and there's and I'm sure they were just being like smarmy or like facetious and just trying to poke at me or something. But there were a few comments about like us trying to like foist the books as a funnel to, this is like a vehicle to sell the books. Reality, we're trying to build an IP. Like, it's all it is. Like, and it's like, I thought it'd be cool to be available, but we're not trying to like mandate that. So like, this is not like an ego thing where it's like, you have to get my books. I just want them to be available, and I want this box set because it's incredible. I personally just want this made. So we're gonna make this with it, but we're gonna try to present it in a way where it's not trying to be like send that mixed message, because obviously it's not the intent. But if someone is interpreting that way, we want to avoid that. Like, it's not just about like, hey, and I mentioned before, it's like the books aren't like royalties for me. Like, all these sales are going to the company. Like, it's just a company product.
I think someone on BGG made a comment like criticizing us, saying that they thought we were starting a game company, not a bookstore. But it's like,
it's both.
This is ever since we launched this company, it's been games and books from the Sadler Brothers. Like,
that's the company's
the whole point
description.
of it is Twin Tail Studios is because books and games, like that's the whole point of the company. So yes, we're making books, we're making games. That's what it's always been.
Yeah, the mission statement, if you go to the website, like the about the company, it's an identical focus, and it's supposed to be a pun because we're identical twins, but we have identical focus on story and games. I think we are unique in that we're not trying to cram a bunch of story into a game. We're trying to deliver these identical products where it's like, here's really good books, stories, here's really good games, and they're delivered in a package. It's like you don't have to get them both, but they are available if you want them, if you want that immersion. So that's, maybe we have to be more clear about that on the page itself, and just like here's the company, here's what we're about.
Well, I think that us explaining the game more is going to be cover a lot of the bases, because we did spend some time this weekend writing out a better outline of how we would want to showcase the game on a campaign page, because the game deserves the focus. Like we've mentioned before, it's our best design to date, and I've seen people say that that's quite a bold claim, but I mean, obviously it's subjective. There are people who, we have playtesters that love the game, but they might, one of them I think still like Street Masters more, which is fine because that's what he likes to play. I personally don't like Street Masters more, but that's just because this is the kind of game that I want right now.
It can be seen in a couple ways too, because from the design, and somebody can say this is our best design because of the design, elements, like the elegance of the design doesn't always translate to the same play experience somebody has. The unique thing about this game for us, the reason we're so excited in kind of saying that, is because not only is it the best design we've done, we're like, the design choices are just very slick and elegant. We're just proud of them, but it also resulted in a very fun game that we actually want to play. We want this product made, not just to not just to get out to everybody. We want everyone to have it, but we want it too. We just want it on our table. We want this game to exist. So that's when we say it's our best design. It's from both ends, both from a design standpoint and also just from a gameplay standpoint.
Yeah, there were some criticisms about the number of components in the box or whatever. Like, one of the things about this game is why we're so proud of it is that we approach this design with trying to pack as much fun gameplay, really deep, crunchy gameplay in as few components as possible. Like, not relying on tons of tokens and tons of cards, stuff like that. Trying to keep things as simple as possible, but offering a very robust tactical experience.
Yeah. And that's a funny thing too about design, because this might be kind of getting too in the weeds with the design aspect, but one of the harder parts of designing is coming back, scaling back, and doing more with less. That's why a lot of really, you look at a game like Pandemic, it's got very minimal components, but that has a very robust, deep experience. It's there's so much there because it's very well designed. It's an amazingly brilliant design. And I think one of the things that's kind of an illusion with gaming is the more stuff in a box means that was harder to design. In all honesty, it's easier to design around more things because you have more things to work around problems on so designing for less means you have to remove all those problems, and that takes more time and more iteration. So that's probably a kind of a geeky way to look at a game component, and it's not a way to justify less components versus more components. It's just when it comes to game components, I don't think more equates a more complex design or a better design. It's just a lot more things to work with,
Yeah. And there was also something that I wanted to mention that came up after we just made the decision to cancel. I saw this in the comments, kind of I woke up in the morning. I was kind of shocked about this, but there was a YouTube channel, Liege of Gaming, who had posted a preview video.
Is it Liege of Games?
Liege of Games. Well, sorry.
I think Liege of Games.
And apparently, there was he posted a video where he gave his thoughts on the game, and some of the things he said didn't really make much sense for the game. It sounded like it was misrepresenting some of the rules. He had some comments from people that were a little saying they were upset that he misrepresented the game and that they were losing trust in his opinion or whatever. And it turned, he emailed us saying that he removed the video and apologized because he wanted to cover it again properly. And it's okay, that's fine. But then I saw one person who keeps trying to stir things up on the GameFund page, saying that we were upset with him and made him turn down, or we sicked our playtesters on him or something. It's a bunch of nonsense. Chris reached out to us and said he apologized because he got some things wrong and he wanted to cover the game properly. I mean,
it's a non-issue. It's something you're going to experience a lot. People just try to make an issue because a lot of what do you call it? occurrences like this, they're kind of mundane. So like it's almost like this void someone needs to fill and make it more more dramatic and more of a scandal. It's not really. It's like Chris was very forthright coming to us and saying he removed the channel. And like I watched some of the video, I skimmed through it, and this isn't a criticism on Chris. Like I mean, he covers a lot of games. I don't follow his channel, so I don't always know like his style and stuff. But it seemed like he hadn't played the game, and he can correct me if I'm wrong. But the way he was describing the game seemed like he might have like scanned the rules a bit, looked at the components, and maybe watch some other videos, but a lot of the explanations were like kind of circling around what the game was all about, and like there were just some things flat out wrong. So
there was something about dice allocation that just didn't make sense.
So it's not a huge deal. Like we would like accurate coverage, obviously. So it's great that he apologized and said he's going to do a new one. We sent him updated components if he wanted to like update his prototype to like do the most recent version, and he said, yeah, I'll try to do that. So it's fine. Like it's just and
again, if he posts another video and just trashes it and hates it, well, fine. We don't care. Like, it's fine. It's his opinion. We don't care about that. I think what bothered me the most was I saw that he made that post on YouTube, and I went to go look at it, and the first comment was this person stirring up stuff saying that he posted the video, we got mad and he took it down. It's not true at all. And then there's a bunch of comments trashing us because we can't take criticism or stuff. It's just nonsense.
People took that as a fact because this person
the first comment said that. It's not true, and I just want to put it out there that we have no problem with Chris's coverage of like we weren't even going to say anything about it. Like I saw the video and I was like, oh, he got that wrong. Okay, that's people can go read the rule book if they want.
and I mean there were some people. I guess some of the commenters. Some of the comments there were from some of our playtesters who aren't employees of Twin Tail Studios. We have an awesome community. We have like a Discord channel. You can join our Discord. We have a playtest channel. So people get into the game. They learn the game. They like the rules, and they speak on our behalf, which we're grateful for. We're glad to have fans. We're glad they're enthusiastic. I didn't see any comments that were antagonistic.
No, I
saw disappointed, but
I saw some people say that very frankly that they were disappointed with his coverage, which is fine. That's their opinion. But I didn't see any kind of personal attacks or anything like that.
Yeah,
if there were, I didn't see them. But again, I think that our playtesters are probably passionate about the game because they put a lot of work into this game and they really love it and they want to see it happen. So if it's something that's like misrepresented, it might be a little upsetting. That's understandable.
But I think we're giving the whole thing too much oxygen because it wasn't an issue. It's not an issue.
Well,
so hopefully,
and I apologize for it's like a constant negativity and stuff like that. Sometimes it's hard for me to like deal with it, but
it is nice. It is nice to have a platform where people could come if they wanted and just talk about this more in depth like this in this format, because the comments are garbage. People we can sit here and talk about comments all day, but it doesn't really solve anything because people will always leave angry comments or just make stuff up just because they'd like to see the world burn or whatever. But yeah, if you actually want to know more details, and if you're hearing this, you're obviously already following our channel, so thanks. But hop in the Discord and we could have more dialogue around stuff that's actually meaningful.
Yeah. And again, when we send out these, we put quite a bit of money into these demo kits, and they're very nice quality, and we wanted to give them to people who would showcase the game, and just they can have whatever opinion they want as long as they showcase the game as it is. That's all we care about. So.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, who's our buddy from One Stop Co-op Shop. He gave us pretty honest opinion. It wasn't his number one game, but he expressed what he liked, what he was kind of hoping would be fixed. And
I think after it fixes, he probably would like it a lot more. Yeah, and again, we take feedback. So criticism, it's no problem. We have no problem with criticism because we improved the game since we sent them out for the demo kits. But again, the rules did not change substantially.
It's all content changes,
minor things.
The biggest change was the scheme thing, which didn't even affect the most of the content, because all it did was it tweaked one of the main core rules. But the beauty of it, the way the rules were written, it's that didn't affect the structure of the game. It was more just it made it better. It just made it more pressure and more elegant. So it was a cool change, and it probably wouldn't come up if we didn't have these conversations with people previewing the game. So yeah, we're totally open to the feedback, and it really helps make a final product better. So
yeah. And aside from all that, there was so much great feedback from people. People are excited about the game. As Brady mentioned, this campaign, even though we dropped the ball on a few things, we raised $60,000 in the first week or whatever, it's pretty good. If we had a typical funding goal, we would have funded in the first day, which would have probably kept the momentum going quite a bit.
Yeah, it makes me really annoyed that some of these opportunities didn't come up like a couple months ago. But like Adam said, for some reason, like you can have an announcement, you can have news out, but until something is like live, it's like it almost doesn't exist for a lot of people. So like once it went live, that's when like these floodgates started opening, and it's exciting, but it's also kind of like stressful and kind of, you know, like aggravating because this stuff would have made it so we could actually structure the campaign more effectively. So it's just
and I think our desire to get started on things, it really influenced our decision to cancel, because we were kind of antsy to do it the right way. Like, you know, implement all these changes. Like Brady said, it's too late to do some of them. So it's like, we could just wait this out for 2 more weeks and then, you know, see how it ends. And if it doesn't fun, then we could start over. Like, or we could just pull the plug now and get ready for the relaunch, which I think was the right decision. But it is, you know, it's not great optics. And I mean, people cancel campaigns a lot and they come back even better. Like it's very common. People have seen it all the time in crowdfunding. So it's not a huge deal. But it was a little disappointing for us because we'd been waiting so long for, you know, this
for our
return.
Our own project, like our own, like, I mean, we've been designing games for lots of different crowdfunding campaigns, but this being like our own, like it's, so, I mean, yeah, it's not ideal, but like if it, you know, if things play out how we hope they will during the relaunch, it's going to be totally worth it, I think. So, and another reason like we want to do this episode now, like coming off the tail end, we just did an episode last week, and then we had to cancel. So this one actually is more for anybody who's listening who like might want to have their voices heard for this relaunch. I mean, we've already got tons of feedback. We have a lot of ideas we want to do, but hop in the Discord if you want to, if you want to help show the game in the light that you'd want to see it in, like give us that kind of feedback, because it really helps seeing how other people digest campaign pages. Like, for example, one of them, at the same time we were live, there was a game called Baktor. Was that what it's called? Baktor, right?
Yeah. Is it still going?
I backed it. I think it just ended like before the weekend, but it has an awesome campaign page, and I'd like to look at that a lot when we're talking about relaunching, saying, oh, we should do this, because like I like how it displayed the game, and it's interesting because like I said before, I don't consume pages the same way. Like if I go back I backed Baktor without even looking at that page, and like now I went back and looked at it, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, I'm glad I backed this. But it's weird because I just don't have that that decision matrix some people have, where they look at something and they need to be convinced by something that this is what they want. I just feel like I know what I want when I see a couple images, or like I see some components or something. I just kind of like guess. I think I want that, but maybe it's probably just a spending habit thing too. Maybe like I spend money differently than other people, obviously. So yeah, like anything that you might have opinions on, feel free to share those in the Discord. It could be in the podcast discussion, could be in the general chat, whatever. But yeah, like I would just like to know what people think would be a good sell for this game, like what people want to see on the campaign page. Yeah.
So for the relaunch, we'll let the page speak for itself, obviously, but I just want to set the expectations. You'll see a lower funding goal. You will see a page that is focused way more on how the game plays and showing off why it's cool, why you want to back it. You will hopefully see, unless something goes wrong, you will see a discounted price for backers of the campaign. And again, another discounted price for the bundle, hopefully.
Will we see add-ons?
You will see the same add-ons. You will see the Cursed Relics, which will be the follower gift, and you will see dice packs. You will also see the shipping rates that we got updated from back office in place from the beginning. And hopefully with all these elements, you will also see the game funding quickly. Now, I want to emphasize that we're still not planning for like lots of stretch goals. We might think about like maybe 1 or 2 like cool stretch goals we can kind of keep things exciting with if the funding goes crazy. But we want to make sure that this game is ready to go. We're gonna keep playtesting up until the wire, but it can go to print anytime. So we want to make sure that we hit that deadline of getting to the printer as soon as possible and still delivering this this year. Now, unless we have a problem getting a follower count up, we're hoping to still have it in that. It's probably going to fall back to like October, November timeframe, but in the fall of this year, depending on when we can get this thing launched. So the quicker we get follower counts up, obviously the quicker we can launch. So just kind of set the stage there.
Yeah. And we're gonna are we gonna have daily unlocks?
No, you will see. That's the thing. You'll see the entire game featured at launch, and that's a totally understandable expectation. Like, again, sometimes I will look at things from an optimistic standpoint as opposed to comprehensive of like what would everybody think when they see this. So like the whole unlock thing was always just for me just about, oh, there's going to be more every day. There's going to be more. It's as opposed to someone coming to the page for the first time and saying, show me what I get. That's very reasonable expectation, and that's something that we need to provide, and we will provide that in the launch. We'll see everything in the game first day on launch.
Why does he
so again, sign? Some of these things might seem obvious, but like I said, we're in a situation where we have the luxury of trying things, but we want to get this thing funded now, so we're going to do everything we can to do it right. So, and that's the other thing too, is I wanted to mention, like, you know, this started off as like a kind of a passion project where we came to this saying, let's just ask for what we need to do this game the way we want to do it. And, you know, if we can't do it, okay, we've lost some time and some of our money we invested, but it's, you know, whatever, people don't want it, that's fine. But now, as we started, you know, interacting with people and realizing that there are people that want this game really bad, and we do too. And it's like, we want to make sure that we can make this game no matter what. It doesn't matter how much more we have to invest into it. We want to make this game.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that's interesting is like, you look at the backer count versus the follower count. There's always a conversion rate people look at when you have like a number of backers and how many of those convert into actual, or a number of followers and how many of those actually convert into backers. And like that's kind of a numbers game people play with. But one thing I didn't anticipate really is I kind of expected to have a higher conversion rate than maybe normal, because I just feel like we've had some good luck, some good fortune with making games that really connect with people. So people come in knowing I'm probably gonna like this game because I know these designers, they make good games. But the reality is, like, there are just too many hurdles. Like I didn't anticipate all these hurdles that might get in the way of people the people who wanted our game to become backers. We just got to eliminate those hurdles or reduce them enough to make it real. So like, I just didn't anticipate they were going to be a significant enough hurdles to not give us a better conversion rate. And that's something that's like kind of just a wake-up call, I guess, because I am an optimist in a lot of ways, and I kind of play off of maybe some past successes thinking they're going to trickle over into, like, you know, to future successes. But
it is difficult pill to swallow sometimes, knowing where we get contacted a lot about like people loving so many of these different games we've worked on, but also feeling like people don't believe, like, it doesn't seem to matter when it's a new game if people just have to be sold on every game every time, where it's like, oh, I don't know, like it's a tough pill to swallow where your name doesn't mean much in the long run.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It does.
It does.
Like, it still does, but it's just it needs to also come with the reduction of those hurdles, those like the less barriers. So whether it's a cost barrier, like whether it's a presentation, whatever it is, like we just need to make sure we reduce those barriers so people see something they want and they don't have things to make them second guess that. They're like, okay, that looks like I want it, and I'm convinced now because they told me everything about it. Why are you licking that?
Sorry, the cat's attacking the banner.
The other thing that I was going to mention is we can't really specify yet, but what can you say about platform? Like whether or not we're going to be on GameFound versus Kickstarter, versus anything else?
We didn't mention that because I mentioned that in the last podcast, where, you know, we do realize that we might be missing out on some audience of the people that like to back books on Kickstarter, and people still back games on Kickstarter. There's a healthy game audience. But we like GameFound, and lots of people clearly agree with us because they want to stay on GameFound. So like, it's not like we're looking for reasons to not use GameFound or like that. But it's just something that we need to analyze and figure out what's best for the project, because we don't, like, the games are part of the project. The games aren't essential for the books are not essential for the game, but it is the setting. Like, we want to make both of these products, and we want to make them both at the same time. I'd have to do some research to see if we could even legally, or like, you know, if platforms allow you to run simultaneous projects on it, like the books on Kickstarter or the games. We don't really want to do that. It's just confusing things.
Yeah, because the whole, like, I mean, we mentioned it earlier in this episode, but like the company exists as like this transmedia approach where it's, you have multiple different medias working in concert. And like this project is specifically, like Adam's also mentioned in previous episodes, this game came up because of these books, like just, discussions about these books, Adam reading these books, just all those different things. Like they just go together so well. And like you said, you don't need to read these to enjoy that, but it's almost like the reverse thing where if somebody is just a gamer and they play this game and they like it so much and they want to get to know these characters, they have a way to do that. There's a whole, instead of selling a lore book or an art book, we have
just shoo him away. I'm sure
it had been. He's determined. But anyway, I don't have the desire personally to run a separate campaign for these books. I want these books really bad, but I feel like they belong together. And we would ideally like to keep that. I'd be more about like if we just had the game be a crowdfunding thing and maybe the books be something like they are kind of just an add-on currently. That's how they're presented now. But
again, people keep saying that like in GameFound, reward levels are just add-ons. Like you can get. There is no reason if you wanted the games to get the books as an add-on because the bundle is a discounted price. So it doesn't make any sense to just have them available just as an add-on. I don't see that. So I'm not really understanding the desire for that because we are in the relaunch. We are going to put the focus purely on the games. Like the books will be there and we will mention them obviously, but the page is going to be 80%, 90% the game. Yeah. So we definitely are going to put the focus on the game.
Yeah, I think when I say this, people should understand. I'm working on my 10th book that's coming out later this year. I've written 10 books. I've had my name on dozens of boxes. I don't care that my name is on these books. It's not like I'm the author. These are my books. Like they don't need to be part of this, but I'm yet to be convinced that they shouldn't be. Like, because I've heard comments, and it's hard to take all the comments at face value because there's so many negative comments that you don't want to even acknowledge sometimes. But if somebody thinks that there is a negative aspect to the books being available, I'm not convinced of that on the GameFound page.
Like I said, of our backers, like I think it was like a third of them were getting the bundle. So I mean, there is interest. And again, we were even considering taking the funding of the books out of the funding goal because we could personally invest our money to fund the books based on the print run. So like we have ways to fund things. So
is it called subsidized, right?
The books being in the campaign is not going to bring it down. It's just going to give more options. That's all. So again, no needs to worry about that. They'll be there, but it won't be the focus. But they will be available and they will be awesome for those who want them.
Yeah. All that being said, the relaunch is very much staying in line with our vision. It's just we have more options to work with now, which is fantastic because all those options are going to help us reduce those barriers and just make it so we can bring more people in. And again, go ahead.
I will say that it's the relaunch will be more of our vision because originally the daily unlock thing was as a compromise I made. It was my idea, but it was a compromise I made for crowdfunding because I would ideally have just liked to put up the box of everything in it and just say, hey, here, if you want this, pledge, that's it. But I thought the daily unlocks would be a way to keep people excited since there were no stretch goals. But I know that not everybody does stretch goals, so it's not a huge factor. But I know that there are people that get excited about that with, seeing something new every day. However, like I think I mentioned before, it was almost like a negative where I think a lot of times with how many games people back, daily updates might almost be a deterrent where you annoy people or whatever.
Because I on the receiving end, like I back a lot of campaigns, and it depends on the campaign. Obviously, like when I backed Lands of Evershade, I would be all like on the edge of my seat for a campaign update every day. But then I back something like, and this is no offense to like Baktor, I backed Baktor because I wanted the games to look nice and elegant. I don't want to see all the updates every day. I just want that game. It's like, I think it's a different mindset depending on what product you're looking at, and it could be something where it's it's just like how long of a fan you've been of that property, that might determine whether or not you want updates. Luckily though, people are pretty good about self-mediating what do you call that when you're
medicating?
Self-medicating your filtering your updates, filtering your email however you want. But
so yeah, we're gonna try to make our like daily updates if we do daily updates, to be obviously gameplay focused. I think anybody who backed the campaign, they saw the one about the Brady wrote up about the shrouded priest, and like, you know, little scenario in the game where it's like, this is how this minion would, you know, work in the game. This is how you have to kind of strategize around it. Things like that. It's cool because we have to take ourselves out of this mindset of assuming people know the game, or like, you know, they've watched all the playthroughs. We have to understand that not everybody is going to take the time to do all this research about our game. We have to present it ourselves, and we are aware that we fell short of that in the past before. Like we've always had issues where we don't feel like we're good salesmen. We just need to step up and do that.
A lot of times we've had people doing it for us. So
well, there are times where we've had publishers obviously doing that for us. But one thing to keep in mind is, I'm not trying to make excuses for us, but we started this company. Brady's been writing these books. We designed this game. Like, we're doing all this stuff ourselves. We're getting art direction. We're contracting artists. We're working with Tom to get miniatures done. You know, we're working with Chris for graphic design, and we're the ones kind of driving all this stuff. And you know, one thing I think we did not put enough focus into is the sales side of things, just selling the game. We need to get better at that, because the game deserves it. The game is awesome, and we need to show it off.
Yeah, so. And I mean, until we can do this full time, maybe someday, like, that's going to happen. Like, we're going to have to maybe learn on the fly in that regard, because it is just us. We can't afford to have like a whole marketing team or a whole sales team.
I don't think it's that much as learning. Like, yes, there are things to learn, but I mean, it's thing we are capable of doing. We just need to do it. You know? Like, we need to stop making excuses.
A good bottleneck is, like, I mean, it's not less an excuse. Like, neither of us are graphic designers. We could cobble together graphics, but like, for us to build our own graphics to explain the game, it's not always ideal. So we have to actually communicate that to Chris and be like, hey Chris, we need X, Y, and Z. Just be a little more forthright about it. And it's, you know, I think we have a good grasp on it, and you know, the proof will be in the pudding as I speak when we relaunch, and you know, everyone see what we're working with now. Pudding.
It's cold.
Is it wet? Are you wet, buddy?
So we have some listener questions, I think.
While you're loading those up, if you haven't played Resident Evil Requiem, it is a masterpiece. It is, besides not having co-op, it is probably the best modernization of Resident Evil I could ever hope for. It is just phenomenal.
Is it better than Resident Evil 2 Remake?
It's just like if you imagine Resident Evil 2 Remake, just something that's an evolution of that better, you know. But I think there might be a little more... No, I can't. I was going to say there might be more annoying scenarios to get through, but in Resident Evil 2 Remake, you have to do the whole like orphanage thing, which I hated, and like the Ada stuff. So like, I think that Requiem is less in that regard. So I think overall Requiem
is it still crashing though?
It hasn't crashed today, knock on wood, but it crashed a lot.
Maybe you should check this. Maybe there was an update.
Yeah, if you get on Xbox, be careful, because my game was crashing like every half an hour. It was annoying.
I've still been like these last couple weeks have just been constantly. My wife's been wanting to play Stardew Valley, like just been playing that way too much. And I actually went back and I've been playing lots of Switch lately on Switch 2. And I pulled up that SNES collection, you know, the old Super Nintendo games, and I pulled up Harvest Moon just because I was playing Stardew Valley.
On the Switch Online thing, you know. And
I was playing Harvest Moon, and it's so weird going back to that game, like the original one for the Super Nintendo. It's still like charming and stuff, but man, like, the days in that game are like 2 minutes long. You can hardly do anything in the day, and you have to spend all night doing things, and you hardly have any energy. It's just so weird when you're so used to Stardew Valley, which is so robust. And
on my brick, I have all of like the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance Harvest Moons, and then on my Thor, I have like all the DS and 3DS. There are so many of them. I haven't even played them because there's just too many. I'm like, which one do I play? Like, I kind of wanted to play one, but I just didn't know which one to
play. Stardew Valley, man.
It's the thing is I can play Stardew Valley on my Thor, which I do sometimes, but.
All right, so some listener questions here. Hobby Vomit, parentheses, match. If you could smash all of your MDS games together, what would be the perfect villain, hero, and stage combination? That's
Micro Guy, hero from Hour of Need. Villain would be, that's a tough one. I think maybe the Proxy. I like him in Street Masters. Or no. I would say Micro Guy from Hour of Need. The villain is tough, man. It's like there's so many villains. Who was the villain in the Aftershock Halloween box?
The woman with the chain?
Davenport Manor with the little goblin guys. Davenport Manor villain. And then for the stage, probably that movie theater one, and because Aftershock had so many good like little thematic ones. I liked the movie theater one with all the different cursed like movies come to life and chase you out of the theater.
What was Axel's last name in Brook City?
Reese or Axel Murdoch. That's it.
Axel Murdoch.
Yeah, Axel and Reese Murdoch. Yeah, the Murdoch twins.
Was it both? Man, that was so long ago. Let's say Axel Murdoch, because I like the whole idea of being like a detective or whatever in Brook City, and versus let's also I'm going to keep the villain in Brook City also. What was the one that was based off Dennis Reynolds?
God,
I remember Gus Ferguson, but I don't remember.
There was Gus Ferguson, and there was oh man, I just had it on the tip of my tongue because I was thinking about this picture. He was like the theater guy.
Yeah, I'll just say Gus Ferguson though, because it's funny. In that Gone Ballistic stage in Street Masters, because one thing we would have loved to do in Brook City would introduce some kind of like shootout like mode or whatever,
like a tactical thing.
Yeah, because that would have been cool. So yeah. We should do a Brook City thing again. Yeah,
I've been doing a lot of Myrtles, which I think I mentioned before. It's like this puzzle book that's kind of like, it's obviously kind of like a pun off of Wordle, but it's not really played like Wordle. It's like this kind of crossword icon thing where like you have the murder suspects, the weapons, and the locations, and you kind of like do a process of elimination to figure out who did what. I think it'd be cool to do like Brook City with something like that, where there's like a cool, fast gameplay, but the case was kind of like this kind of puzzly thing that was off on the side. You kind of like manipulate in different ways. What are you chewing on my finger for?
So Dig Me Colder asks, love the MDS system and Alter Quest. Just curious if the rules for Malice of Light will be much more streamlined and polished for delivery.
Oh yeah.
So yes, definitely more streamlined. Obviously, Malice of Light Adventures is not an MDS game, but it has MDS philosophy with modular elements. So you're not playing necessarily a deck for your hero. You do have a hand of cards that you cycle through, where you play cards in your exertion pile, and you do a prepare action to get them back. But every hero is unique, so it is kind of a unique deck. But the way Malice of Light Adventures is even more modular is because you have your hero, you have the villain you choose, you have the minions you choose, which could be two groups, so kind of two different groups of minions, and then you have your two different encounters you choose. So there's a lot of modularity, even more so than normal. And I think, Brady, the math, there was like thousands of different combinations in the core game alone.
I think it was like 865,495 or something ridiculous like that.
But the game will just get progressively more and more modular as we expand in the future.
Yeah, and not just from...
Why is he chewing your finger?
I don't know. Not just from like new content like heroes, villains, minions, encounters. Also like things we haven't actually shown yet. Like little things to modify each game. So like each encounter could be played in several different ways. So like not just because of the villains and heroes and minion combinations. But we'll get more into that during the campaign. You'll see it. That's something we haven't shown yet, because it might be one of the stretch goals. We'll see, but it's not going to be something that's hiding content like before.
Sanguinus Rex asks, any chance to see other Sadler Bro IPs soon, or as potential add-ons in any campaign? That is in addition to Malice of Light, or All Guns Trained on that IP as of now. So Malice of Light is just the fantasy IP. We have lots of ideas for other things. One of which is Relic Myers, which is a book series Brady's also working on that I really like. If you like Stranger Things, you would probably like Relic Myers.
If you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Stranger Things, and like maybe a touch of like Harry Potter without like any of the issues.
Magic school.
Well, it's like because it's kids going to, not there's like high school teens going to school, so it has that kind of appeal where you're going through a school year. But it's kind of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer too. But also Relic Myers is interesting from an IP standpoint because it also has this bridge to Brook City, where the book we wrote, Ransom Creek Remains, is like a buddy cop thriller based in the 90s. That's actually tied into book 3 of Relic Myers, which is actually going to be also tied to the Brook City IP that we've recently acquired. So we're kind of bringing that into the Relic Myers universe. So the Brook City IP is also kind of conjoined with And also, like, I mean, Mouse Light kind of exists within Relic Myers as well as a book series in that world. So
why is this cat chewing her thumb?
I don't know. He likes fingernails.
Does he do this all the time?
Not all the time. I think he's just trying to show off right now.
I've never seen him chew on hand before.
Yeah, it's like he just gets excited and it's his playing thing. It's his playtime.
Yeah, so I think that was pretty much it for planned discussion on this podcast. Basically, just we're getting ready for a relaunch. Hopefully, we'll have a preview page up for people to follow soon. Honestly, as soon as the graphics are ready, I think that it's good to go. Like graphics are ready, and obviously we just decide for sure the platform. There are lots of factors to consider for that, but I think it's leaning more towards GameFound, but I can't say for sure yet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like we would love to just stay on GameFound. We like GameFound. Like the only reason we're keeping options open is because, like I said before, we just want to reduce barriers. We just want to make sure it's as easy as possible for people who like look at this game and want it, that they're just easily convinced to get it. They don't need to like have all these different things to possibly get in their way. So
yeah, and don't worry, we've definitely heard the feedback. There are several people who just would not back it on Kickstarter, so we're definitely keeping that in mind. We don't want to discourage anybody from backing our game.
I mean, this is just kind of hypothetical. We don't have to like, this is not like about what we're doing, but like I'm going to posit this because a lot of people do this, launching a campaign on Kickstarter, but then running the pledge manager on GameFound and maybe getting the best of both worlds. So like, man, that's also could be possible. So like, if you didn't back on Kickstarter, maybe you'd still be fine getting the pledge on the pledge manager. So
yeah. But yeah, so still iron out the details, but you will definitely hear from us the second that preview page is up.
Especially if you're subscribed to our mailing list, where you can get that free book, or just stay subscribed to our podcast, where you'll get every piece of news that we want to shout about on here as it happens. Yeah. And then, seen any good movies lately?
Oh yeah, we actually both saw Scream 7 yesterday, which I thought was really fun. Like, very nice. I think that I heard there were some bad reviews on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that, but I'm honestly surprised that they can keep making Scream movies. So we're Scream 7 and they're still fun.
I would say it's compelling. Like I wouldn't say it's like a fantastic movie, but it's like, I think it's still compelling, and it's interesting they can take something, that's been done so many times, and that, like, seven of these movies. But
I will say, regardless of my feelings about specific things, choices about media or whatever, like if I can take my daughter to a movie and she enjoys it, I'm enjoying it. Like, it's fun. So
low bar. You got a low bar to hurdle.
It might not be the most I guess responsible for me to have to take my 13-year-old daughter to see.
I think we watched. Was it Scream when we were 13? They didn't come out when we were 13.
Appropriate material for a 13-year-old. I was trying to say, but yeah, she's been watching horror movies for years now, so she does like horror movies. And this cat is just going nuts, man. I don't understand.
Cleaning that nail for me.
I don't understand why he's chewing.
He does this at night sometimes.
That drives me crazy. But anyway, that's it for this episode. Any other things you want us to discuss or cover in the next episode, feel free to drop them in our podcast discussion channel in the Discord. But again, we appreciate you guys following along. We appreciate anybody that joined the GameFound. We hope to see you back at the relaunch. And again, we are very excited to get this game.
Hopefully our next launch, our next episode is about the launch, about the relaunch. So.
Yes. So if you hear from that, I think the next time you hear from us will be about the preview page. So yeah, we hope to see you soon, and thanks for joining us.
See you later.
See you.